Shalom Aleichem. Today I have a story about the Lubavitcher Rebbe for all of you. So there was a French couple who had a 10-year-old son, and they found out he had a tumor, a large tumor in his brain. The doctor had suggested several modes of treatment, but they were being brutally honest with the parents that he really had small chances of surviving, young Eli. Eli's the father. The son is Menashe. So young Menashe had a small chance of survival. And then, one night in the middle of the night, Eli thought of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Both he and his wife were raised in non-observant religious homes, but they recently became involved with Chabad, the Chabad of Paris, and they started learning more and practicing more mitzvot. And that was really once they became aware of Lubavitcher Rebbe to a greater extent. It gave them a nice, vibrant view of Judaism that they never really felt before. They got this exciting feeling about Judaism that they never really felt before. And now they didn't describe themselves as religious or Hasidic, so to speak, but they were Shomer Shabbos, kosher, put tefillin. They were really starting to connect more and more with Hashem. Eli had heard the stories of the Rebbe, and he felt desperate, and he wanted his son Menashe to recover. So a few days later, he called the Rebbe's secretary, and he begged him for guidance and help. And he mentioned it to the Rebbe, and he wrote a note to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe said, "I will mention it at the gravesite." When Eli's like, "What does that mean?" So basically, the father asked the secretary to ask the Rebbe to pray for his son. And the Rebbe said, "I will mention it at my father-in-law's gravesite." And so the guy responds, "But I want the Rebbe's blessing." So then the secretary says, "But that is the Rebbe's blessing. When he goes to pray to Hashem at his father-in-law's, the previous Rebbe's gravesite, he's praying to Hashem. It's a very profound moment. If he's mentioning that there, that is his blessing." So Eli was a bit reassured, a bit confused, but he says, "Okay, if that's the Rebbe's blessing, fine." So meanwhile, his condition was getting worse and worse. And the treatments were bringing a lot of pain. It was hard physical treatment on his son, but it wasn't helping so much, but it was physically hurting him. And he was really watching the life drain more and more out of Menashe. So Eli once again calls the Rebbe's office. And he says, "Look, I know we got the Rebbe's blessing, but right now it doesn't seem to be helping. Menashe is getting even worse. The doctors say that every day is a miracle. Can we ask again? Maybe the Rebbe, maybe he could do something else." So he agreed to speak to the Rebbe. And then within a half an hour, the Rebbe said, "I will again mention it at the gravesite." So the following evening, Eli was in his apartment, and his wife was at the hospital, and he sat down on the sofa and he saw the room. There's medical papers everywhere, half-eaten meals, and then he sees the Rebbe's picture, and the Rebbe was smiling, and he got mad. Eli got mad as when he saw the Rebbe smiling. He's like, "My son's dying in the hospital, and you're smiling," and he picked up a shoe, and he threw the shoe, and then glass broke, and the picture fell onto the ground. And now here's where the story gets very interesting. 2 years later, on a Sunday morning, a father and son go to see the Rebbe. The Rebbe was giving everyone a bill. On Sundays, the Rebbe would give out to thousands of people dollars to give to tzedakah, and the Rebbe would give them blessings. If they had questions to ask them, they were able to ask them. And as the two people were coming in line to meet the father and son come to the Rebbe turns to the father and to the child, and he says, "Oh, so this is Menashe. How is he?" The father, Eli, was really shocked because they never met the Rebbe before. They only wrote letters a few years ago. And the Rebbe, Eli was absolutely shocked that the Rebbe knew that this was him and his son. That's the interesting part, really, when you think about it. These people never met the Rebbe before, and he knew. He's like, "This is Menashe. How's Menashe?" And just from a letter, it really goes to show you the power of the tzaddik, where they're really on a higher playing field. They see things from a far more divinely inspired way. So It took Eli several seconds to respond after the Rebbe asked this. And then he says, he is fine, thank God. He managed a complete recovery. The doctors say it was a miracle, thanks to the Rebbe's blessing. So now Eli responds, my son Menashe is okay thanks to the Rebbe's blessing. It's a miracle. And then here's where the funny part comes in, and the interesting part. The Rebbe goes, thank God, thank God. And then quietly he says, I still feel the blow. Now remember when Eli threw the shoe and the picture of the Rebbe fell down when Eli was going through a hard time? So now the Rebbe, to lighten the mood, says to Menashe, he goes, thank God your son recovered. I still feel the blow. I still feel when the picture fell. And not only that, I still feel the pain that you went through. So, just goes to show you the power of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the power of tzaddikim in general, and the power of praying for another Jew and going to see a tzaddik, going to connect with a tzaddik. It has infinite power because a tzaddik is on a higher realm. They could help guide you. They could help connect you to Hashem and push you in the right direction and see what you're lacking. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have an amazing day.